hit record, and let's see if they're ready to have a match. Or if they ignore me, which sometimes happens. All right, they're both ready to go. It's tough to think and type at the same time. We had to lock in for those few letters. But here we go. Making sure everything is good to go. And looks good. So, with that, we venture on to Rivalry Tier 5 of the 2v2 circuit. And if you've been watching Rivalry, there's a bunch of tiers. There's different tiers for 2s and 3s. So, Tier 5 for the 2v2 is not the same as Tier 5 for the 3v3. They take ranks based off of whatever game mode, a bigger portion of whatever game mode, and then a smaller portion of the other game mode. So that is why ranks differ. But Spartan Guardians in blue, Jiggly Jamal in orange, and thank you so much for the follow, Matt. Let's go Jiggly. And Matt, we gotta ask, what is the history on the name? What can you tell us? Give us the details. But this is week 1 for both of these teams in 2v2, so certainly trying to get a leg up on the season start. And also, if you don't know about Rivalry, they do a Swiss format of sorts. If you've played Royalty series before, it's similar to that where... Oh, missed touch. Turtle might have had that. But they play where if you win week 1, you're likely to play a 1-0 team week 2 and thus forth. So you're meant to play teams of similar series score, which is nice, and it builds up a good storyline as you get through the season. So Matt says we kind of just thought Jiggly, we thought the name Jamal, and we put them together. So Jamal is just random completely. Chaotic says Guardians, who Chaotic is the manager, says Guardians had a good warm-up versus me and Holy. If I didn't see it through the server, I would have never guessed. But good info to have. Yeah, it was kind of random. It definitely seems random. Certainly one of my questions was, who is Jamal? But sometimes it's good to have fun, good to mess around, and there's certainly a league for that. Have fun, play some games, and get better. But somehow we have not had a score, and I did not jinx that. That was already midway. Do not blame me. But Spartan Guardians take the first goal, and they were scoreless for quite some time. Maybe we'll see the floodgates open, some offense pour through. And you can see Jiggly Jamal, they definitely have to get on the board, and perhaps being down by 1 sparks a little fire. But Turtle trying to pass to the midfield. Fire NATO has a early jump to try and get there. But kicked out to the other side. Turtle, low boost, but able to apply the pressure. Does it himself and puts his team up by 1 more goal. You thought I would say 1, but I corrected myself. Hello, what rank are these? This is tier 5. And I don't dare try to venture into the ranks because it's 75% of your 2's rank and 25% of your 3's rank, and then divided by 8, minus 6, and plus 2. But Turtle has an open net, and that's a little bit of a skimp touch. Definitely want that one back. As both of them kind of fly by, maybe Ghost as Turtle. Happy to have that open net, secure that 3rd goal as we have 37 seconds left. And Spartan Guardians look keen on taking the first one, but that's a miscue from Guardians, and the Bong Flames. That's gonna be tough. You know what I want to say, but they swapped it out on us, but he's on the board, and that's good news for Jiggly Jamal. They get their first goal on the board, can kind of let loose a little bit more. Sometimes that first goal, if you don't score it, a lot of pressure, but they can take something from this toward the end, a little momentum, and maybe apply it for a full match. They likely don't think they played a good first half, and can they bring it different into game 2? That's exactly what we're looking for, and we will find out. But on the real, LeBron still hasn't picked a team. Feel like it's the decision 2.0 all over. But game 2, and starting off strong. Looks there for the kickoff. Following through, has a little space, and that is exactly the start they want. Wasting very little time to get on the board, unlike game 1. And Chaotic, our manager, also staff member, also player, as Turtle scores, says 1200 to 1349 MMR. Basically 2's MMR is like 1380. So I hope you got all that. But Turtle almost has a shot through. We are tied 1 apiece as we get closer to 4. That should be on target. It is. Not a crazy shot, but pressure applied, and another unfortunate situation for Jiggly Jamal. They can't get the touch there in their own corner. Turtle pressing and gonna capitalize. But kicked out. Turtle trying to clear it and trying to avoid getting demoed, and does so. But quickness there. However, a big challenge at the midfield. And big 50, but LeBlanc Flames is not ready for that and has to get a touch. Gonna continue on. However, big space in between allows Turtle to come through, and this is a strong touch. Perhaps a missed opportunity. But Jiggly Jamal, they're trying to tie it up. And a little team action here. But they are pressing, and Fire NATO trying to keep it away as best he can. Going to the midfield. Turtle just beats out and bounces around, almost in. But maybe some bumps. Not going to happen. However, Lux there for the shot and adds another and has woken up in this one. And they certainly need him, as they are trying to tie up the series. They faltered on game one, but certainly a better showing in this one. Lux perhaps doing some damage again, but Fire NATO there for the save. And almost devastating. Jiggly almost going up by one, getting their lead back. Long Flames can't get a touch there. Had to wait one more second. But Fire NATO and Turtle just a touch. I don't know if he was going in for the demo, but wouldn't have been good, as Fire NATO didn't quite have a handle on it. But halftime is here. 2-2. Even matchup so far. And they're just pressing, trying to form an offensive attack. Can they find it? Turtle, good control. Now Fire NATO snipes in and might have the shot. He does, and at left corner, able to press through, and Spartan Guardians take the lead. And don't want a kickoff goal. Jiggly Jamal, they are trying to tie it up while not wanting to go down by 2. And that's definitely a different story. A Fire NATO blast it, and what a save. Lux being bumped. A rasp back there. Good pass, almost completed, but Turtle continuing to be a nuisance. Challenging well. But hoping for that big bounce. It did not go through in that corner. Lux trying to make it awkward. Turtle can only get a touch and needs Fire NATO, who's there and might have a counter. Bouncing off the wall. Turtle, what a read. Pretty close to net. And little 1-2 punch here, as Spartan Guardians go up by 2. Just under a minute to go. And Lux trying to get one quick. As lead down by 2, and there he is. Call upon him. He's there. And nice goal. And it's got 3 on this one, but great pass as well from Flames. And maybe a little kickoff magic certainly can tie it right back up. But keeping it high, and a nice extra touch. And now the counter, and Fire NATO almost awkward. And just like that, Jiggly Jamal are pressing. They do have an opportunity to tie it up. Can they get the right look? Well, almost skimmed through. Fire NATO, good presence to jump, even if a little late, as it skims up high. But Turtle almost 50s in, but that 50 taking plenty of time off. Turtle trying to control, can't get that. And 2 seconds, last chance for a shot. But Fire NATO, he shuts it down, and Spartan Guardians win that one by 1. And like we said, pretty close games. But now, series point, Spartan Guardians, they're looking to close out the series. However, Jiggly Jamal We gotta see what they got in store. Can't afford any more losses. Backs against the wall. Gotta bring a full effort. Can they do it? Nice block from Lux. However, they got to get back quick. Although Lux has some time. And actually going to give space to him again. And not typically something you want to do, especially with the offensive output from the previous game. But Long Flames had to make a tough touch and can't follow through again. And this has to calm down a little bit, especially being second man. Gotta make sure to stay behind it. And with that little space in between, Spartan Guardian's able to come through, have an open net, but makes up for it. And that's what you like to see, a good bounce back. As Jiggly Jamal tied up without much time passing by. And there we see a little miscue. Turtle letting that one get away. What a save. Lux just in time off the kickoff. We say it all the time. We'll continue to say it because it's that important. But the space given up matters. So a lot of goals you could see happen because possession given up and allows the opponents to come through with a shot. So Turtle 50ing, gonna steal boost and rotate, but realize he has a chance to cut on this and almost gets past second man. Lux gonna take time that is given, but nice pop from Turtle and has another bang. But even better defense from Flames. Is able to keep with it, and that dominus, the high flick. One apiece, getting close to halftime. Both teams locked in, and you know this next goal, it's gonna be big. Not a lot of scoring in this one. Goals not easy to come by. Who is gonna take it? Right now, Jiggly Jamal, they're threatening, almost squeezing the needle there. Lux has to be careful, taking too much time. Does finally turn on that, but that's given up, and Turtle actually able to get in the way, and you could see it getting chippy as one little mistake could be the difference. And LeBlanc wanted that pop, but Turtle, enough of a challenge, and challenging has been on point from Turtle. Fire NATO denied, and just both teams bouncing it around, and Lux finding that answer. You could see making things awkward. Turtle can only bounce it high, and Lux jumping enough. Good reaction, and Jiggly Jamal up by one, and definitely what they need. But if they're not careful, Turtle's gonna come by and almost pinches it through. But can they hold on to the lead? Meep is correct. I couldn't ask for better color commentary from Sleepy. But still holding on to that 1-goal lead. Fire Nade blast it and might have an opportunity here with a miss. Lux gets enough of a touch, but needs a little bit of help. And almost capitalizing. If Flames got that, certainly had a major chance of going in. But 41 seconds left, and who other? The man for Jiggly Jamal. The offense coming out, but as well, LeBlanc Flames doing good job at assisting. And they're getting a little bit of stride. Definitely when they need it. It's game 3. They can't afford any more losses. Turtle tested on defense continually. But there's another shot, and they have good command of the corner. Applying the pressure. And that quick 1-2 punch. So, with 10 seconds looming and add another, they're really rolling on all cylinders, and that's a big confidence boost that they are gonna like to bring into the next one. What is up, Tony? How you doing today? But 5-1, we see a big jump in score line, and Jiggly Jamal, they're able to get on the series scoreboard in a big way. And now the new story is, can they continue this success game after game? So they're gonna need it, as they can't afford any mistakes. Gotta play the best that they can. Where are we going? DFH. I am eating a mix of grapes and blueberries. Just snacking on grapes and blueberries, huh? I approve of the grapes, not so much the blueberries. But that's my personal preference. What? I don't really like blueberries. I don't like the taste. But game 4 is here. Jiggly Jamal trying to add another, perhaps bring it to game 5. Spartan Guardians trying to close down momentum and close out the series. So who prevails? Well, that first goal definitely going to be key. And Jiggly Jamal had a lot of offense in the previous one, and certainly those corners closing down, they locked down those corners and provided a lot of shots as well. But one-on-one situation, Turtle is there. Tony said, I could be better if we had strawberries. You really like fruit, huh? But that's actually on target. LeBlanc Flames beating out and in good positioning. Gonna track this one down. You see Turtle going backwards, so no. And that's a telltale sign. I wasn't ready for that. But they are down by 1. And Spartan Guardians gotta be questioning a few things here. They had the series on lock, had a rough previous game, and now down by 1. And certainly a big momentum shift. Turtle almost beating out. Nothing wrong with this. But Fire Nade almost gets the 50. Turtle venturing fourth. And, you know, something we haven't seen a lot is Spartan Guardians making things awkward for Jiggly Jamal. They certainly did that to start the series. We saw a lot of miscues and goals being rewarded from such. And there looks again as Turtle in an awkward spot. I'm sure if should go forward, backward, and has to turn to face the ball. But eating fruit at night. Yeah, I don't know. Do a lot of people do that? A lot of people eat fruit at night. I know I get flamed for drinking milk at dinner. But I need the protein. But we got some bumps coming out. And yeah, we haven't seen a lot of bumps from Spartan Guardians as well. If those miscues aren't happening, if the awkward plays aren't happening, sometimes you gotta force your way. But like we said, give credit to Jiggly Jamal. They kind of started off rough, but have cleaned up a lot of their mistakes and playing solid and good positioning as well as they apply the pressure. Big blast almost through, as Spartan Guardians definitely could have used that goal as time ticking away. But Turtle with the pop, gonna try to maintain control, and he does. Nice catch, carry, and goal. And Spartan Guardians definitely needed that one and have a little more time to spare to tie it up. 129. But will we have a kickoff? No, it's designed. Although, as usual, we see those fizzle out. Spanish, but that could be a shot. Bouncing around though. They'd like to see a little more height. Could have resulted in a goal. But Turtle, a time to reflect, but get demoed as well. And Fire Nado getting a demo himself, although a little bit awkward. Turtle bouncing around, getting deleted. Fire Nado left in a tough spot, being pressured. Long Flames waiting for that miscue, almost puts that through. And this next goal, pivotal for both teams. Fire Nado bringing it high. Turtle quick, and what a clutch goal. Turtle using everything he had. He was waiting for this moment. Fire Nado blasts it, and Turtle just beats out. And we are tied, and things are getting spicy. 24 seconds left. Does it end before OT? Or are we going to OT? And Lux almost had that lined up. Smart of Fire Nado, because you have to respect Lux shooting ability. And that's going to fire through. And Turtle, what a touch. Lux thought he had plenty of time and open net to work with it. It almost ends with Turtle. What is happening? It's getting intense as we're not going to OT just yet. But now, here we go. And a crazy game 4. But both teams got to lock in yet again. Because you could see a mistake come out, and that's just how OT ends. Sometimes it be like that. But LeBlanc being flipped around. Could that affect his ability to get back? Fire Nado puts it through, and Spartan Guardians somehow fight back toward the end and win an OT. that is a crazy ending to this series. Honestly, could have went either way. Jiggly Jamal, if they took that, we're going to game 5. You wonder how that would go. I mean, so many storylines that could be written, but we know the one that resulted. Spartan Guardians fought toward the end, bring it to OT, and manage to score the final goal. So give credit to Spartan Guardians for the victory. However, we would like to thank Jiggly Jamal for allowing us to cast, as well as playing in the match, and of course anybody who supported Jiggly Jamal, very much appreciated. But if you voted for Spartan Guardians, no one did because no one voted, but if you did vote, you would be correct. So Spartan Guardians are your victors, so congrats to them once again. And once again, we'll say thank you to anybody who watched Lurk, or if you watch this VOD back, we're gonna put it on YouTube, so if you watch that back, very much appreciated. And so we will go ahead and do that, but that is going to do it for this cast. So thank you so much for tuning in.